I never thought I'd be the guy who walks in and catches his own wife with someone else. Not in movies. Not in stories. And definitely not in real life. But that's exactly what happened. My wife and I had been together for 7 years, married for 4. From the outside, we looked solid. Stable. The kind of couple people assume is going to last. We had routines, inside jokes, even stupid little traditions like ordering the same takeout every Friday night. But somewhere along the way, things started to shift. At first, it was small. She became more distant. Always tired. Always busy. Conversations got shorter. Eye contact disappeared. She started guarding her phone like it contained state secrets. If I walked into the room, she'd flip it over or suddenly get up and leave. I noticed it. Of course I did. I'm not stupid. But I convinced myself it was stress. Work. Life. Anything but what it actually was. Looking back, the signs were screaming at me. She started going out more. Girls' nights. Work dinners. Late meetings. And every time I asked anything, even casually, she'd snap. Turn it into an argument. Make me feel like I was the problem. You're being paranoid. You don't trust me. You're suffocating me. So I backed off. I didn't want to be that guy. The jealous husband. The insecure one. Big mistake. The first real crack came about a month before everything blew up. She came home late one night. Like really late. Past 2 a.m. She smelled different. Not just like perfume, like someone else's place. And when I asked where she'd been, her story didn't add up. The details kept changing. I remember standing there in the kitchen, watching her talk, and feeling this weird, sinking feeling in my chest. Like something inside me already knew. But I still didn't push. I still chose to believe her. Then came the moment I couldn't ignore. It was a random Tuesday. I had left work early because I wasn't feeling great. Nothing serious, just one of those days where you feel off. I didn't tell her I was coming home. Honestly, I didn't think it mattered. I walked into the house and immediately felt it. That silence. Not the normal kind. Not the peaceful, empty house silence. This was tense. Heavy. Then I heard something upstairs. A noise. Quick. Muffled. My heart started pounding instantly. I don't even know why. It was like my body reacted before my brain could catch up. I called her name. No answer. I started walking upstairs slowly, trying to convince myself it was nothing. Maybe she came home early. Maybe she dropped something. Maybe. Then I heard it again. A whisper. And a laugh. Not hers alone. That's when everything inside me just snapped into focus. I walked down the hallway toward our bedroom. Every step felt unreal, like I was outside my own body watching it happen. My hand was shaking when I reached for the door. And then I opened it. I wish I could say I hesitated. I didn't. I saw them immediately. Her. And him. A guy I had never seen before. Younger. Maybe mid-20s. Standing there like he belonged in my life, in my house, in my bedroom. For a second, nobody moved. It was like time just froze. She looked at me, and I'll never forget that expression. Not guilt. Not shock. Panic. Pure, animal panic. He turned next, wide-eyed, like he just realized the situation he had walked into. And me? I just stood there. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just stared. Because in that moment, everything I had been denying, everything I had been trying to ignore, it all came crashing down at once. Every late night. Every lie. Every cold moment. It was all real. And it was right in front of me. For a few seconds, nobody said anything. Just silence. The kind that feels loud. Crushing. I remember noticing stupid details. The way the curtain moved slightly from the open window. The sound of my own breathing. The way his hand slowly dropped to his side like he didn't know what to do with it anymore. And her. She was the first to move. Wait, she said, her voice shaky, stepping toward me like that one word could somehow undo everything I had just seen. I didn't move. I couldn't. It felt like my body was frozen, but my mind was racing 1,000 miles an hour. What is this? I finally said. My voice didn't sound like mine. It was flat. Empty. She started talking fast. Too fast. It's not what it looks like. That's when I almost laughed. Not because anything was funny, but because it was so predictable. So cliché. Like she had rehearsed that line her entire life just in case this moment ever came. Not what it looks like, I repeated, staring straight at her. The guy took a step back, clearly uncomfortable. He glanced at her like he was waiting for instructions, like she was going to fix this. She didn't. Instead, she turned it on me. You weren't supposed to be home, she snapped. That hit me harder than anything else. Not guilt. Not an apology. Just anger that I showed up. I felt something shift inside me right then. You're right, I said slowly. I wasn't. Another silence. Thicker this time. The guy tried to speak. Man, I didn't know she was. Get out, I said, without even looking at him. He hesitated. Now. That was enough. He grabbed his stuff in a rush, avoiding eye contact, practically tripping over himself as he moved toward the door. I heard him leave a few seconds later. And then it was just me and her. Finally. She crossed her arms, pacing a little like she was trying to gather her thoughts, like she was the one who needed time. You don't understand, she said. I just stared at her. Then explain it to me, I replied. She sighed dramatically, running her hand through her hair. It just happened. I shook my head. No. Things don't just happen. You don't just accidentally bring a guy into our house. Into our bedroom. Her expression hardened. You've been distant too, she shot back. You think I didn't notice? You stopped trying. You stopped caring. I actually felt a flash of disbelief. Stopped caring? I said quietly. I've been here. The whole time. While you've been lying to my face every single day. She rolled her eyes. That was the moment something inside me broke completely. Not when I saw them. Not when she lied. But when she rolled her eyes. Like this was all just inconvenient for her. You're overreacting, she said. It didn't mean anything. I took a step back, like her words physically hit me. Didn't mean anything. I repeated. All those nights. All those lies. All that distance. And it didn't mean anything. I laughed then. A short, hollow laugh. Do you even hear yourself? I asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she switched tactics again. Tears. They came out of nowhere. Like a switch flipped. I didn't want to hurt you, she said, her voice suddenly soft, trembling. I was confused. I felt alone. You weren't there for me. It was almost impressive. How quickly she could change. How easily she could twist everything. For a second, just a second, I felt that familiar pull. That instinct to comfort her. To fix things. To believe her. But then I remembered what I saw. And it was gone. I was there, I said calmly. You just chose someone else. That landed. I could see it in her face. The mask cracked for a moment. Then she looked away. I made a mistake, she muttered. I nodded slowly. No, I said. A mistake is forgetting something. This was a choice. She didn't argue with that. Instead, she sat down on the edge of the bed, looking suddenly smaller. Quieter. But it didn't feel real. None of it did. I looked around the room, our room, and it felt like I didn't belong there anymore. Like I had walked into someone else's life. How long? I asked. She hesitated. That told me everything. How long? I repeated louder this time. A few weeks, she said quickly. I just stared at her. Don't lie to me again. Another pause. A few months. That one hurt. More than I expected. Because it meant this wasn't new. It wasn't random. It was planned. Repeated. Hidden. All those moments where I felt something was off. I wasn't crazy. I was right. And she knew it. I sat down in the chair across from her, suddenly exhausted. Not physically. Emotionally. Like everything inside me had just burned out. I trusted you, I said quietly. She didn't respond. I defended you, I continued. Even when things didn't make sense. Even when I felt something was wrong, I chose to believe you. Still nothing. And you just lied. Over and over again. Her eyes filled with tears again, but I didn't feel anything this time. No sympathy. No anger. Just emptiness. I didn't think you'd find out, she whispered. That was it. That was the truth. Not that she was sorry. Not that she regretted it. Just that she didn't expect consequences. I stood up slowly. I need you to leave, I said. Her head snapped up. What? Leave. Go stay with whoever that was. Or a friend. I don't care. You're kicking me out? She said, disbelief in her voice. I looked at her, really looked at her. And for the first time, I didn't recognize the person in front of me. No, I said. You already left. You just didn't tell me. She opened her mouth to argue, but nothing came out. Because deep down, she knew I was right. And for the first time since I walked in, she had nothing left to say. She didn't leave right away. That's the part that surprised me. I thought after everything, after being caught, after having nothing left to defend, she would just go. But instead, she stayed sitting there, like the reality of what was happening hadn't fully reached her yet. I'm not leaving, she said finally. I let out a slow breath. I'm not asking, I replied. She looked up at me, and for a second, I saw that same defiance in her eyes. The same attitude she used every time we argued. Like she still believed she had control over the situation. This is my home too, she said. You don't get to just throw me out. I nodded. You're right, I said calmly. Legally? Maybe. But after what I just saw, you don't get to stand here and act like nothing happened. She stood up now, her voice rising. So what, you're just going to end everything? Just like that? I stared at her. Just like that? I repeated. You brought another guy into our bed. Into our house. And you think this is happening just like that? She flinched slightly, but then quickly recovered. It wasn't serious. She said again, almost. Why are you acting like this is the end of the world? That question. It hit me in a way I didn't expect. Not because it hurt. But because it showed me exactly who she was in that moment. Because it is. I said quietly. Silence. Real silence this time. She looked at me, searching my face like she was trying to find some sign that I'd calm down, that I'd forgive her, that this would turn into another argument we'd eventually move past. But there was nothing there. I could feel it myself. Something had shut off inside me. I'm done, I said. Her expression changed instantly. What do you mean done? She asked, her voice sharper now. I mean I'm done, I repeated. I'm not fighting for this. I'm not pretending this is something we can fix. She laughed, but it sounded forced. Oh, so now you're the victim? After everything I've put up with? I blinked. What are you talking about? You weren't perfect either, she snapped. You ignored me. You stopped trying. You made me feel invisible. I shook my head slowly. So your solution was to cheat on me? You pushed me to it, she shot back. And there it was. The final shift. Blame. Complete, unapologetic blame. I felt a brief surge of anger rise in my chest, but it faded almost immediately. Because arguing with her suddenly felt pointless. Like trying to explain reality to someone who had already decided on their own version of it. No, I said calmly. I didn't. She scoffed. You're unbelievable. I almost smiled. Yeah, I said. That's exactly what I thought when I opened that door. That shut her up. For a moment. Then her tone changed again. Softer. More desperate. Look. We can fix this, she said, stepping closer to me. We've been through so much. You're really going to throw it all away over one mistake? I took a step back. It wasn't one mistake, I said. It was a pattern. Weeks. Months. Lies. Tears filled her eyes again. I'll stop, she said quickly. I swear. I'll cut him off. I'll do anything. I just looked at her. And for the first time, I realized something that scared me more than anything else that had happened that day. I didn't believe a single word she was saying. Not one. Even if she meant it. Even if she was being honest in that moment. It didn't matter anymore. Because trust wasn't just damaged. It was gone. You should have thought about that before, I said quietly. Her face crumpled. So that's it, she whispered. You're just giving up on us? I paused for a second. Not because I was unsure. But because I wanted to be honest. I'm not giving up, I said. I'm accepting what's already gone. She stared at me like she didn't understand. And maybe she didn't. Because for her, This was still something temporary. Something fixable. Something she could talk her way out of. But for me, it ended the moment I opened that door. "I'll call a lawyer tomorrow," I added. That's when it really hit her. Her eyes widened slightly. "You're serious?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. She backed away slowly, like the distance between us had suddenly become real. Like she was finally seeing the of everything she had done. "This is crazy," she muttered. "You're making a huge mistake." I shook my head. "No," I said. "I already made one." She looked at me, confused. "Marrying someone I couldn't trust," I finished. That one landed hard. She didn't say anything after that. Just stood there. Silent. And for the first time since all of this started, she looked defeated. Not angry. Not defensive. Just empty. Kind of like how I felt. That night felt endless. She eventually packed a bag. Not much, just the basics. Clothes, her laptop, a few random things she grabbed without thinking. I watched from the hallway, leaning against the wall, feeling like I was observing someone else's life falling apart. Neither of us said much. What was there left to say? At one point she stopped, holding something in her hands, a photo of us from a trip a couple of years ago. We looked happy. Real happy. The kind of happy that now felt almost fake. She stared at it for a few seconds, then quietly put it back and zipped up her bag. "I'll come back for the rest later," she said. I just nodded. When she walked past me toward the door, she hesitated. Like she was expecting me to stop her. To say something. To change my mind. I didn't. The door closed behind her with a soft click. And just like that, it was over. No shouting. No dramatic goodbye. Just silence. I stood there for a long time after she left. The house felt different. Empty, but not in a peaceful way. More like something had been ripped out of it. Or out of me. The next few days were a blur. I went through the motions. Work. Eating. Sleeping, or at least trying to. My phone would light up occasionally. Messages from her. Long paragraphs. Apologies. Explanations. Promises. I didn't respond. Not because I wanted to punish her. But because I genuinely didn't know what there was left to say. Everything that mattered had already been said, or done. I contacted a lawyer 2 days later. Saying the words out loud felt strange at first. Like I was talking about someone else's situation. But at the same time, there was this quiet clarity that came with it. Like I finally stopped fighting reality. She tried calling me after that. Multiple times. The first time, I almost picked up. Habit, I guess. But then I remembered that moment, opening the door, seeing her with him. And my hand just stopped. I let it ring. Eventually, the calls slowed down. Then stopped. Weeks passed. I started noticing small things again. The quiet mornings. The absence of tension. The fact that I didn't feel like I had to question everything anymore. And yeah, it still hurt. I'm not going to pretend it didn't. There were moments, random ones, where it would hit me all over again. A memory. A place. A song. But it was different. It wasn't that sharp, suffocating pain anymore. It was something I could carry. Something I could live with. Looking back now, I think the hardest part wasn't catching her. It was realizing that the person I trusted the most was capable of lying to me so easily. So consistently. That kind of thing changes you. But it also teaches you something. Trust isn't something you give blindly. And love, real love, isn't supposed to feel like confusion, doubt, and constant. If you're reading this and something feels off in your relationship, don't ignore it like I did. Don't silence that voice in your head just to keep the peace. Because sometimes, the truth is already there. You just don't want to see it yet. As for me, I don't know what's next. But I do know one thing. I'd rather be alone than stay somewhere I'm not respected. And after everything that happened, that's not even a hard choice anymore.